Right. Welcome back to Stuttercast, a podcast where we discuss everything cinema. This is the fourth episode, and for this episode, for the very first time, we have a guest with us. So, Yash,
Hello,
please
hello
introduce
everyone.
yourself. Yeah.
Uh, I am Yash Kuberkar, and I'm very interested to be joining this podcast. And because we are talking about three of my favorite movies, Blade Runner series and Incendies, so I think we should start.
Yeah. And by the way, Yash is also the part
Yeah,
of NIT Film Society.
yeah,
So, he knows his stuff.
Nice.
Like always, you may or may not hear the intro music. So if you hear, then great, or you will just hear us speaking. Okay, so the first film that we're going to discuss is a film called Incendies. It's a 2010 Canadian French film directed by Denis Villeneuve, or as people call him, Denis Villeneuve. um, and who is also the co-writer of the film. The story is adapted from a play of the
yeah,
same name, and the play was by Vajdi Mawads. So the story concerns two twins, a brother and a sister, who, after the death of their mother, travel to their native country, which is in the Middle East, where they try to find their missing father and their brother who they didn't know. So I would like to hear your thoughts on it. So Yash, please.
Yeah. So as you explained the plot of the film, it's about the two. It's about the twins who, in order to respect their mother's last wishes, they go on the journey to in Middle East to find the father and the brother, and so it's a masterpiece. I mean, it was so gripping for me, and after watching the movie it took me a while to process the plot of the film as we go to the end and we see that twist, see the truth which
Yeah.
was revealed.
yeah,
And also the cinematographer for the film is the same one which was for Mommy, Andre Turpin.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
the
oh
same one.
wow, of course.
Yeah.
Ah, oh, cool,
Uh,
cool, 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 cool.
yeah, even he's a French Canadian cinematographer.
Hmm.
Yeah, and obviously the movie was quite haunting, and it was brutal in
Brutal, yeah. Hmm.
portraying the situation of Middle East, and it didn't
Yeah.
shy anywhere, showing the concept of the war, which was also based on religious conflicts and all.
Hmm.
That is one thing which you don't usually see in movies, quite
Hmm.
where no one has portrayed the wars or situations in Middle East where we see both the parties very well.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we have our guest say
Ah,
what
yeah,
his thoughts are?
Yash.
yeah.
And
Okay.
What do you think of the film?
I would like to start with how Villeneuve got the inspiration for this, like me turning the play into a movie. So
Yeah.
Villeneuve said in an interview that he went to Montreal for the last it was the last performance of the play, and he luckily got the last two tickets for the play, and he went and saw the play, and it was like for 4 hours.
Hmm.
And he said the first impression he had was when he saw Apocalypse Now for the first time, which is he was astonished
Oh,
with
which
the
is
story,
yeah. Hmm.
because it's also a journey of a character into self discovery, and he said for him it was like a Greek tragedy mixed with the detective stuff, also because if you see
Hmm.
half of the movie, it's about the sister and the brother
It's about
finding their,
finding something. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
also it's a self, he said the main theme for him was uh how you have to overcome the anger you have inside you, which is inherited by the family, which is
Yeah.
given to you by a, it's inherited, so it's a
Yeah.
very.
I know.
And he said the only way he could infuse drama into it was not by not doing it the melodramatic way, but by doing it the raw realistic
The
portrayal of
realistic
the
way.
war. Yeah. And one more interesting thing is like it starts off with one of my favorite Radiohead songs, "You and Whose Army."
Oh,
Oh yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
and also like for Radiohead fans, PTA, if you know, is a huge Radiohead fan. Like all his movies are
Hmm.
composed by Johnny Greenwood.
I saw his interview on this film, and he said that I have toned down the amount of violence
Mm,
because the original play is actually very violent and brutal.
yeah, yeah.
He said I've toned it down by more than 50-60%.
The film is set in a fictional land. Like they didn't use the real
Oh
location.
yeah. Hmm.
I guess there was a mention of Palestine somewhere.
Hmm.
Yeah,
There was.
that was
Yeah,
one
but
thing which I
like he
saw
said,
in the
like
movie.
he wanted to make it political by not setting it in a.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm. And the events of the film are inspired by the Lebanese civil war.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I also like the way the screenplay is written, like how it jumps between the daughter's
journey
journey and
to the
mother.
the mother's journey as well.
Yeah,
yeah.
Let's talk about the cinematography.
I
Uh,
mean, the cinematography did do its work of bringing the layer of horror and showing the way things would have been, or things are there. Things are
Yeah, and the
presently there.
camera is handled as
Yeah,
well. When the film sort of goes in the 70s and the 80s time,
yeah,
that time the camera is in close up and it's handled. And I also like the way like some of the shots he has done the one takes. I don't want to spoil the film, but in that one scene when she goes down and she does her work,
yeah, yeah,
it just reminded me a lot of Kubrick. And
mm,
apparently Denis Villeneuve is a huge fan of
yeah.
Kubrick. So
yeah.
And like
yeah, so it's
his all-time favorite movie is 2001: A Space Odyssey.
yeah, he has said that many times in an interview.
And like he said, like the tracking shot of Kubrick's, like it comes to him like
Hmm.
almost
Yeah,
subconsciously. Like
yeah. What else? Let's talk about the editing of the film. There was this one scene where I noticed how good the editing was. It was when both of the siblings and their lawyer
hmm.
they go to the Middle East and they have a helper there,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then he's talking about what we can do to find Nihad, who
Mm-hmm.
is apparently their long lost brother.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like the way Villeneuve has cut between the close-ups and the wide shots, like they
Mm-hmm.
are having a conversation in that little cafe or something. I really love that scene. I really really like that scene. And we will also talk about Denis Villeneuve more when we talk about
Blade Runner.
2049.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
because like his style of filmmaking is so amazing. It's really good, really really good. And I this
And
was the
also,
fourth film I
like,
saw.
I would like to talk about one more scene, the bus scene in which like she's traveling back to
Oh
her.
my god,
oh, yeah,
oh, that scene is really brutal.
Like Villeneuve said, like
And
only that is a scene where he went like full on, like the violence, like which he usually avoids. But
yeah,
over there, he said like he had
hmm,
to put it
he
in
had to.
because like that is the moment where you see the change in the lead character because
Yeah, hmm,
like that changes her whole view of war and like that makes her who she is, right?
hmm,
So that was really important.
yeah. I mean, considering all the thing, and he said that he toned down the violence.
violence.
Still, the movie was quite harsh and realistic to
Yeah,
watch.
Hmm,
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean
also like there's one more
that's
thing about Villeneuve
yeah,
films where like even like he has different DPs in most of his movies, but like still you can see
hmm.
the common thread of
His style,
cinematography. Yeah,
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 his
yeah,
his his style. He's a very visual director. He
yeah,
likes to show a lot of things
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
he
instead
likes
of
to he likes to
dialogues.
make he likes to make the movie visually intimate for his viewers.
Yeah.
and also
Unfortunately, we cannot talk about the plot that
Yeah,
much
yeah,
because
even if the plot like the scope and the movie spans over. like a period of almost 30-40 years, but like still
Mhm.
it's so intimate and personal to the main characters, like,
I know,
and
Yeah.
I know, I know.
there's so many characters spread like throughout countries, and like it almost can be a HBO mini series for like if they want
Yeah, I
to.
know, I know. It can be. It's really, really well done.
Also, after watching this film, you'll get to know one thing: one plus one equals one.
Yeah. It's
We won't spoil it. Why one plus one equals one?
please don't spoil it.
Yeah,
Please don't spoil it. And let's talk about the acting
Ah,
by Lubna Azabal. Oh my God,
man, it was so
it's
great.
so good, so good.
yeah.
I don't know how she wasn't nominated for any award. I don't know.
I mean, I did send you a message after watching the movie. I'm trying to process all things right
And
now.
I know. Yeah.
And also, like,
So
Villeneuve said this about acting in some other interview, like regarding some other movie, but he said, like, the thing which he is concerned about the most before he shoots any movie is acting, because as a director, you can do all the things except go and act. And like
Yeah.
he says, casting is one of the
yeah,
most important things for him. So, and like, he
important
means
things for him.
casting in all of his movies, like all the characters.
Yeah, yeah. It's really, really, really good.
I mean,
And
And
some of
as
the
he's
themes,
making
like
his last movie now,
what?
Dune is gonna
Oh,
be,
Dune. I'm very excited for Dune.
yeah.
Uh, Now we don't know when or if it is going to release over here,
obviously, it
but
will be delayed.
uh, and some of the themes that this film talks about. Yes, I mean there's this whole comment on
Hate
uh,
and war.
like hate and everything, but I like such films because they do it in a very subtle way.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like characters don't come on screen and give a big speech and say, oh, you shouldn't fight, or you shouldn't do this and do that.
yeah.
They show it through the realistic portrayal of war.
Yeah,
And there are so many war films out there which are just bullshit, absolutely bullshit, and they just want to be stylistic for the sake of it.
yeah.
And there's one more film, and I'm sure that we will discuss this some film someday. There's this film called Come and See.
Ah,
It's based, I think it's around the World War II time.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I
even I've
want
seen
to.
it, but
What is? Yeah, like
it's
even that film is quite brutal in its portrayal of
it's
war
Ari
and
Aster's
violence and all that.
favorite film
Yeah.
of all time.
Oh,
Yeah,
Harry Astor's, yeah. You know, so I like such films. They have a lot to say, but they do it through the characters and through the setting and through the surroundings, which I
even
like.
the moment where like we get to know about the twists of the movie, and like
I
directed with such nuance, and like it's
Yeah.
not the
I know,
usual
like
way
it's
of showing like the twist, and like you see in every other movie. It's so
hmm,
I mean,
beautiful, and he
so
will know.
yeah,
that's the
and
thing.
it hits us like a gut punch.
Yeah,
I mean, you are just watching it and it just comes and slaps you off.
yeah,
Exactly,
And that's
and
the
it
thing. Not everyone can make such a movie.
I know, and like if you want to make an anti-war film, this is how you make
Yeah.
such films,
yeah, yeah,
right?
It was
And
nominated for Best Foreign Language for Oscars in
yeah, it was Oscars.
2011, right?
yeah.
Oscars, I don't fuck them. No, but this I like the acting is so good by Lubna Azabal. I just want to go back to that. One scene which I will always remember is that when she's put in the cell for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
she is walking back and forth in her like this really small cell, and she is walking back and you actually feel her insecurities and her desperation and her fears. You know. and like it's done so brilliantly. It's so brilliantly. Loved it.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any complaints or anything you would have like sort of like uh it could have
Not even a
been
bit. Like
better or something?
it's
Yeah,
Huh?
no. I don't
nowhere.
think I have any.
Yeah, and I was
So
watching
yeah,
it
do you
at like
guys?
3 and it like it didn't let me sleep for 2 hours.
Yeah, no man,
Brutal.
it's really good.
Yeah.
So, do you guys want to add more to the film? Something which you would like to talk about? I want to talk about not for this film in particular, but in regards to Denis Villeneuve's filmmaking. But we will do it for 2049.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So Yash, how much do you rate the film?
I'll give it a 5 on 5.
10 on 10. Like there's no.
10 on 10, right? Yeah, yeah. Like for the first watch, I've seen it only once, and it is
Yeah.
a 10 on 10 for me too. I didn't really find anything which would ruin the experience.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, this was Incendies. Unfortunately, it is not available on any streaming platform.
Yeah.
So you
I
guys
have
will
to
have to
download it.
buy the Blu-ray or or download the movie by paying, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Incendies, do check it out. It is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And yeah, all right. So the next film that we are going to talk about is Blade Runner. So Suyash, why don't you introduce the movie?
Yeah. So Blade Runner is a 1982 science sci-fi movie directed by Ridley Scott, and it's a Blade. Okay, I'll explain the plot now. Blade Runner, Blade Runner. So in the movie, there's an ex policeman called named Rick Deckard, who becomes a kind of special agent to exterminate group of violent androids, and in the process of it, he starts to question his own
Hmm.
identity and all. So that's the plot of the movie.
It is based on
Yeah.
the book "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep," which is written
Hmm.
by Philip K. Dick.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And it says about a kind of future where 2019 was shown, where humans have kind of veered off from the humanity, and the androids are more than capable for humans, and they have their own problems overall. So what do you guys think about the film, first of all?
Yash, why don't you go ahead?
So like Blade Runner is a like the whole franchise is very special for me. Like I'm like both my laptop background and my phone wallpaper is Blade Runner wallpaper.
Oh, that's cool.
And like I would like to like for me the major theme of Blade Runner, like even if you see the opening shot of Blade Runner is through someone's eyes, right?
Nice.
Like it, yeah. And so is the major theme is like what differs humans from machines. Like they say if you're born like,
Replicants.
yeah, replicants, if you're born you have a soul, and they say your eyes are the reflection of your soul. So
Hmm.
like it's such a beautiful opening shot in both the movies. Actually in 2049 also the opening shot is through someone's eyes. And
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
2049, like the only theme, like the major theme they explore is uh like the what makes you human, what makes you, but like we'll get later into
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
uh like and also like it's like Ridley Scott had so many fights with Warner Bros regarding, do you guys know the
Regarding.
5 versions of Blade Runner?
No,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know about that.
yeah, but the most recommended one is the
Yeah,
director's
Final cut.
cut,
2007.
right?
So like
Yeah,
there's
the
the
final cut.
original cut which Ridley Scott edited, which was like cut after the movie was shot, and it never played in any US theater because Warner Bros were so pissed off with it, and like they thought no one will understand this. So like they did another cut, which is the theatrical cut, which came out in the theaters in 1982.
Mhm.
And like that cut had a voiceover whenever Deckard is thinking, there's like he actually speaks out what he's thinking,
Oh,
like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm an ex-cop. And it also has a happy ending where Rachel and Deckard actually are together and they do all kind of stuff. Like, man, Ridley
oh,
Scott was very pissed off with it. And the
of
third
course he
cut is
was.
the international cut. Yeah, the international cut, which was slightly more violent than the theatrical cut, but still it had the voiceover and the happy ending. In
Okay.
1992, Ridley Scott did a director's cut, like he approved of fine, like it didn't have the voiceover and the happy ending. And in
Mhm.
2007, he did a final cut where he edited it personally and like he made some audio and video improvements, and like that is the cut he recommends for everyone to watch.
Oh, so which cut is on Netflix? Because I watched the movie on Netflix.
I think
It
it's the
didn't
2000.
have a voiceover.
It's a 2007 version only. Like I think,
Oh, yeah, cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like Nolan, when he talks about it, he says like the theatrical cut, he liked it because that is the one he saw when he was a child in a theater. Yeah, like the
And
theatrical cut is the most personal to a lot of filmmakers.
hmm,
Even Villeneuve saw the theatrical cut only because like that is the one which,
one like which was accessible back then.
yeah.
Yeah, so the biggest selling point of this film was its production design and the visuals.
Yeah,
Because if you watch the film, like the film was released in 1982, and
yeah,
this film surprised me in every single way. I I didn't know anything about the plot or the story. I just knew that it stars Harrison Ford, and it has a great line saying all those moments will be lost in time like tears in rain. I just knew these two things. I didn't even know that the film was directed by Ridley Scott. So when I watched the film, I was like completely blank. Basically, like I didn't know anything about the
mm-hmm.
movie, but this film exceeded my expectations in every way possible. The story, the music, the production design, cinematography, everything, even the acting
Yeah,
matter.
and the music, the background score by
No, the background score is by
uh,
Vangelis,
Evangelist.
who is a Greek music composer, I think.
For me, it's one of my like best or like original scores ever. Like the
Hmm.
there's actually videos on YouTube where Evangelist is actually composing for the movie. Like,
Oh,
yeah, I think you
yeah,
should
I'll
check it out.
check that out. Yeah. Yeah, so like this production design, man. How
Mm-hmm.
like how did he do that back in 1982? I don't know. And there's a scene in the film where he's like trying to find something in a photo.
Yeah,
So he tells that system to go 29 right and something left and K right
yeah,
and something like that. I mean that's basically voice command, right?
yeah.
Something which we didn't have like till like 2010, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he they did it back in like 2000, like 1982, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, they did imagine a few technologies for
Uh,
2019, the voice command and all, which you did say, and also flying cars or whatever they shown. It's not now. It's not here right now. They have not made it. They have not invented it also, but they did show that
yeah,
one. They had hoped that maybe till 2019 we may have
yeah.
flying cars.
One thing as well, like even though the film is set in the future, but this futuristic dystopian world somehow feels
Yeah,
really grounded. Right?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't feel very overwhelming at all. Same for
mm,
2049 as well.
yeah,
yeah. But that's the thing. I mean, they tried to show the 2019 quite futuristic and all, but then the humans in 2019 had lost
Hmm.
many things.
And it
That was that was something which I think they did show to balance things out.
it didn't feel too cheesy at all. I
Mm,
would say.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And the cinematography as well. So I watched Ridley Scott's interview on this. So if you notice, so all of the replicants in the film,
yeah. They have a
there
glow in their shine in their
yeah,
eyes,
and
right?
there's a twinkle in their eye. So how he managed to do it was he took a small piece of mirror and he taped it in a 45-degree angle over the lens,
Yeah,
and then he reflected a beam of light. So whenever the replicants speak, their their eyes twinkle in a very subtle way.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
even these little details he
yeah,
managed to pull off
yeah. He's talking about the
is
first
crazy.
scene where Deckard meets Rachel, right?
Rachel, yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
also, like one other thing I
Also,
would like to talk about this movie
yeah.
is
Go
it
ahead.
has a lot of scenes where like Deckard is tired and sleeping. Like that for me captures the whole like tone and the mood of this movie. Where
More of the film, yeah,
yeah, like even if you see in 2049, the first shot of Ryan Gosling is him sleeping in the his like
Yeah.
yeah,
like
yeah,
the dreams, those like it's a very major theme of Blade Runner where like other movies
yeah.
they don't really like you'll never see a character like sleeping or like there's one shot in which the we are just in the lift with Harrison Ford and like he's just yawning throughout as the lift reaches his floor, like that's like it's there for 10 to 15 seconds. Like
Yeah.
other movies will just edit it out, but like Blade Runner
They
it
have kept it.
yeah.
Also, can we talk about the way he has shown the colors of the colors in the film, the
The
way he has
neon
shown the
lights.
future,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
neon lights, and I guess he had to use two kind of lights to shoot it.
Hmm.
Uh, I guess two light sources. Where I did read it somewhere where he used two light sources. One was the key light and backlight.
Um,
Yeah, I mean the way he has shown future and the lights, the colors which he has shown. It's so I mean it's dark to it's dark. The future is kind of they have shown it's dark
hmm.
for everyone.
Yeah. No,
What do you guys think about
this
that?
film is quite dark in terms of the visual style. I'm saying,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
there isn't sunlight at all, and
Like the cinematographer of the movie, Jordan Cronin, is actually the father of Jeff Cronin, with the cinematographer of all Fincher movies.
oh,
Yeah,
what?
yeah. Like he has shot Fight Club, Gone Girl, everything.
There is nepotism in cinematography too.
this is this is actually like both are brilliant.
Yeah, so it's fine then.
Yeah. And like you said, like yeah, the cinematography is like a huge aspect of this movie in terms of like
Huge
setting
part of
up
the
the
film. Yeah.
mood, the
yeah.
colors of the movie.
I mean the way he has used the light sources was not uh, comparing the films of that time. It was quite unorthodox for him to do
Mm-hmm.
that kind of
Hmm.
uh, to use that kind
Yeah,
of
because back
method.
in 1982, I think the only science fiction film that people knew about was Star Wars,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And even Star Wars, in my personal opinion,
Star Wars and
only
Star
like
Trek, I guess.
only Empire Strikes Back is a good film. Like the rest of them are average at best. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love Star
So
Wars, but okay.
yeah. I mean, it's good. It's not a bad
Mm,
franchise, but
mm,
like it's
yeah,
like some of the films are overrated in my opinion.
okay.
yeah.
We'll talk about it
Uh,
later sometime. Yeah.
Later, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but Yeah, and no, it's very, very like evident from this film. Like this film has inspired so many science fiction films,
Yeah,
right? Like in terms of its presentation style and the VFX and stuff. So
yeah.
it's a great film, and the acting is whoosh. Who is that guy?
I mean, Harrison
Rutger
Ford's acting
Rutger
Not
Hauer.
Harrison Ford. Rutger Hauer. Yeah,
okay.
And also like there's a
Harrison.
very interesting story where he wrote the monologue of,
He wrote that line. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I know. It wasn't in the original
yeah. So
script. Yeah,
like
yeah.
Ridley Scott said in an
Yeah.
interview that like at 1 in the morning he went to his trailer and Rutger Hauer said like I've come up with this monologue, and after he read it to Ridley Scott said like you have definitely stole it from somewhere. Yeah, but he's no, and it's went on to be like one of the greatest moments in cinematic history.
Moment, I
Yeah, yeah.
mean, I have never cried in a sci-fi film uh, prior to this, but I cried in this film. Like
Mm-hmm.
towards the end, it just touched me like so much. Like it's
Yeah,
amazing, really, really good. All those
Yeah.
moments will be lost in time, like
and also
tears
like,
and
what do
rain.
you guys think? Is Deckard a replicant or a human?
That is the question
Okay. So
which even Denis Villeneuve
I think
hasn't answered yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
But like you see, Ridley Scott in every
people
interview says
think
like Deckard is a replicant. Like he never changes his
I
opinion.
mean,
no, but people think he's a replicant, and I guess I guess someone did say he's not a replicant.
Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
Harrison Ford thinks he's not a replicant. He
He
thinks
is
he's a
not a replicant.
Yeah, Harrison Ford thinks
yeah.
he's not a replicant.
And also like
But
I
I
have
like
one
the film.
Is he?
like
But still, is if if we consider him as a replicant, then he starts to question his own identity, and if he's a human, still he starts to question his own identity at the
hmm.
end
Hmm.
I mean, throughout the
And also
movie.
like Ridley Scott justified him being a replicant. Like one of the points he said was like Deckard, if you see, is always paranoid in the movie. Like he's a paranoid officer because
Yeah,
like he
every
kills
time.
the replicants who almost are human. So if you end
Hmm.
up killing so many replicants, you are almost unsure whether like the agency has your name
Right.
on the list as well. Like so you're never sure if you might be the
Ah,
next person who will get killed.
yeah.
Harrison Ford portrayed the paranoia and like the Warner Bros did fuck it up by the voiceover, but like if you see a lot of his acting isn't through dialogues, it's through those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has very, very few dialogues. Yeah.
And also like Harrison
Yeah.
Ford before that he was Han Solo and in like
Han
Indiana
Solo,
Jones. Yeah,
Indiana
like
Jones, and
so
all that.
this was a major surprise for a lot of his fans where he
Hmm.
portrayed a character who like never speaks mostly in the movie.
Yeah, and he did a brilliant job.
Yeah,
Brilliant,
yeah,
brilliant job.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll
And
talk
also
about the themes of the film when we talk about 2049
yeah, like
because
just
I
one
don't
more
think we can. Yeah, go ahead.
a fun fact where like the guy who plays Tyrell, right, the owner of the industry, he is
He is
actually
in
the
The Shining.
bartender from Shining.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Shining. Yeah, yeah. He's the bartender from
yeah,
Shining, and apparently, so the set for the Shining, right? Ridley Scott used the same set for the Tyrell Corporation's office.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same set.
Yeah.
He just changed the stuff around.
And also like the cut which Warner Bros did right with the happy ending. So it had some
Hmm.
alien shots and it was taken from the
Yes,
footage of
yes, yes.
Shining, like the
Yes, so
the post-production.
the
Yeah,
opening. Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I read this. I saw this in that director's round table.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so he apparently called Stanley Kubrick and he said if you have some unused footage, please send.
yeah,
So yeah, great man. Ridley Scott he has done a lot of commercials and stuff.
yeah,
So like yeah, so he's a very uh, Jugadu filmmaker. Let's say. He's great though.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you guys want to add something else?
Mm,
Mm, I mean, we are going to talk about it back in when we are going to talk back.
2049.
I mean, we are going to
When
talk about it
2049, yeah.
when we are discussing 2049. So, if, if you have any other views, just say it now, or else we'll come back
I
later.
think.
No, I think the themes and stuff we have to talk about in 2049 because we
Yeah,
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 cannot like
yeah,
exclude 2049 from it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that
yeah.
was yeah. Sorry, how much do you rate the film? Yes,
For me, today's all three movies are 10 on 10. Like, there's no.
10 on 10. So
Yeah.
yes,
It's a 5 on 5.
for me it is 8 on 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought that
Okay.
the film. Okay, I forgot to say this. I just thought that the film was a little bit stagnant in the second act.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong when I will watch it the second time. I might have
Mm-hmm.
different thoughts about it, but for the first one, I just thought that towards like in the middle of the film, just thought that it was little stagnant. Like it wasn't going anywhere to say like. But I might be wrong. I don't know. So for like, as of now,
Okay, but that's your view.
yeah.
It's
So it
okay.
is
Yeah.
8 on 10, which is closer to a 9 than a 7. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so so that is
That
Blade
was
Runner. It is
Blade Runner.
available on Netflix, so you guys don't have any excuse to not watch the movie. So please watch it and
Yeah.
let us know. All right, so the final film for this episode we're going to discuss is the sequel to Blade Runner. It is Blade Runner 2049, and
Yeah.
Yash is going to introduce the movie. So Yash,
Okay. So, Blade Runner 2049 is actually set like 30 years after the events of the first film. And we have a new Blade Runner here, Officer K, who, like you see in the opening of the movie, unearths a long buried secret, which has the potential to plunge the society into chaos. So, like, that is
yeah.
the main plot of the movie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And like again, like I would like to start with the opening shot, which is again through the eyes of someone, which
Hmm.
which again brings us back to the theme of the people who are born have souls. And like there's a line by Ryan Gosling in the movie where he says like, I've never killed someone who was born. He says, like, his officer says, like, I think you're doing well without a soul. And like I think that really hits Ryan Gosling in the movie. Like that is his
Yeah.
emotional arc throughout the movie, right? Like he feels like as the movie progresses, you see,
Yeah. So
he goes on a journey. Like he finds some things which might suggest that he's a human. And again, one of the important themes of the movie is, are
uh,
we the
yeah.
culmination of all our memories? Like what makes us human? Those
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
themes
Which is
come back from the original Blade Runner movies. Like that's the whole story of K. Like he goes on a journey where he has some memories of his childhood and he feels like he was born, he has a soul. But one thing I would like to add is, so this movie takes place 30 years after the main movie, right? The original movie. Villeneuve asked two of his favorite directors to make three short films which are set in the period between 2019 and 2049. So these three short films are there on YouTube.
yeah.
One is 2022, which is an anime called Blackout 2022. The second one is 2036, which is Nexus Dawn, which shows us the
Oh,
origin of Jared
yeah,
Leto's
yeah,
character in
Yeah.
the movie.
yeah. Hmm.
And the 2048 one is called Nowhere to Run, which has Dave Bautista's character, like his day to day life
Hmm.
and how it turns into something sad. And a fun fact, like the two of them are directed by Luke Scott, son of Ridley Scott.
Luke Scott. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's his son,
and
yeah.
the yeah, yeah,
I thought that was his brother.
yeah. No, no, no.
Okay.
And the anime is like
Yeah.
anime shows the important event in the middle of these two movies, which is the blackout in the Blade Runner timeline.
Okay,
Like
okay.
what happened during the blackout.
Yeah.
And these all three short films are there on YouTube. So you guys, yeah, who's going to like the people who are going to watch it for the first time can watch these three short films before they see 2049.
Yeah. They are on YouTube, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
watch
I
after.
mean it's a really amazing movie. The visuals were so great. We'll go back to cinematography later, but then do you remember the scene where Dave Bautista says, "Yeah, you have never seen a miracle,"
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
then and as the movie goes on, and at the end, I mean, not the end, just before that, he realizes. I mean, he when he realizes what the miracle was,
Hmm. Oh, yeah.
man, that was good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Also, I think so. We should now talk about the themes, theme of the
Yeah, so
movie.
I would like to talk about 2049 a bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
Yeah.
when I watched the original Blade Runner, that film, like I said, it exceeded my expectations in every way possible. So when I started watching this film, I knew that this was a great film to begin with. Right, so the bar was set
Mm-hmm.
really, really high, but even this movie exceeded my expectations in every way. I knew it was a great film. I just didn't know that it is a masterpiece. So yeah, that's all I want to say. So Suyash, you were saying something.
Even in this film, I mean there's no kind of natural light in shown in
Hmm.
2049. It's the same thing. It just evolved a little bit, and humans are still the same. After there was a blackout, and they started the project again. They perfected the replicants and all, but still they had to hunt a few of them down.
Hmm. Yeah.
That even the acting was really good.
Ryan Gosling is like
Yeah,
he's a very good actor, and what I like about the way he acts is his acting is really internal,
yeah,
right? So most of his acting is just it's through eyes or through his body language and stuff.
yeah,
Like each of his films, he seems really different and sort of similar at the same time. Like it's a really great skill that he has. I also want to talk about the pacing of this film. I think the movie is paced really, really well. Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, for Blade Runner, I thought the film sort of became stagnant in the middle, though that film is less than 2 hours, and
Yeah.
2049 is 2 hours and 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
But this film is so well paced,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it is not a surprise because Villeneuve is such a great director when it comes to the pacing of a film or moving the story forward. That the film, like every single scene, has certain relevance to the story. It's not there for nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
So which is really, really, really good. And like the film is 2 hours 45 minutes, but it doesn't feel like that.
like that. Yeah,
And like it's great,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not a lot of action going on, but still the film feels like it is flowing at a really good pace.
yeah.
So which
Yeah.
is brilliant.
Okay, so I was just saying about the relationship between the characters, the K, and the relationship which he had with Joy, and how even she was mere programming. She was just a bit of a program somewhere, but he still had that concept of conceptions of empathy and all, for compassion and love for our.
Yeah, so let's talk about the themes now, because now that we have covered both the movies,
Yeah,
um, or do you guys want to talk about the cinematography and the technical stuff
yeah.
first?
Technically, the movie is really great, and
Flawless,
yeah,
yeah.
the cinematographer is Roger Deakins. Where can you go wrong with
Deakins.
him?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to talk about Roger Deakins a bit. So like his cinematography, as we all know, is absolutely brilliant. Like in all the films, he's really great. And what I like about his style is that it doesn't interfere with the story.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It makes it better,
Yeah.
right? And that is something so it's this is not a criticism, but just difference between Roger Deakins and Emmanuel Lubezki, who is the cinematographer for Gravity, Birdman, Children of Men, and all of these great films.
Revenant.
Like his Revenant, yeah. So his style of cinematography is sort of show offy, I would say. It's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it in a bad way, but I just think it is a bit show offy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like so like okay, this is going to be this is going to be a long take. There are going to be a lot of close-ups and tracking shot and all. So it's not subtle. His style is not subtle. Whereas Roger Deakins' cinematography is so beautiful. First of all, like visually, it is really good. Plus, it is really subtle as well.
But like I
It
feel
just enhances the story so much.
Lubezki's cinematography is more suited to the movies he has chosen, right? Like where,
Movies,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So if Lubezki had done this film, I don't think it would have suited.
And like he likes to
Right.
shoot a
So
lot of with
he,
natural light, and like it's not very, like, the lighting
exactly.
is almost natural.
yeah,
There's no artificial lights. Like in Revenant, if you see, they hardly use any.
No artificial writing.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, they haven't at all. And
yeah,
yeah.
it's all natural lighting.
And
Yeah.
Lubezki is like how he captures, like that's why he has worked with Terrence Malick a lot, because like Terrence Malick loves those natural, like he also shoots in that
Hmm.
similar style. So like even Lubezki has his
Yeah.
like a certain set of directors who will, like he'll work with, like the best, like Inaritu, or
Yeah.
like Deakins does with Cohen's. Like he has shot almost,
Cohen's. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like half of the films.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also like Deakins, I read one of his interviews recently where he was saying like how he rebelled against how the studio wanted him to shoot 2049. Like he said he wanted 2049 to shoot in a way where it's the cinematography would convey the story rather than, like, for him that is the most important thing. Uh, and he said like most of the Hollywood movies now go for the aesthetic feel of the movie and like not
Hmm.
conveying the story what the script is going
Yeah.
for.
yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
and that is a huge difference between Deakins and other cinematographers. And
Cinematographers. Yeah.
also, like,
No, like the.
Deakins, Deakins has really nailed the digital cinematography. Also, like, he's one cinematographer
Yeah, I
who
know.
has
I
been there
know.
since the film look, and he has
Film.
nailed the,
Yeah.
yeah,
He has done it really well. Like even in 1917,
yeah.
like
I have to,
Even
I
this
haven't
even in
seen it
that he
yet.
has done a really good job.
Yeah,
1917, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
And
like visually and aesthetically, this film is one of the best, like one of the best out there,
yeah,
yeah.
and it's just so amazing. And even the soundtrack, like some of the soundtrack is from the original
Original,
film,
yeah.
but most of it is new, and it is composed by Uh,
Hans
your
Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer,
And also there's
which
one
is
more
who is like,
one more guy, Benjamin Wall.
yeah.
Yeah,
So they have Benjamin Wolfish. Like even he's pretty great.
yeah.
Good stuff. So like technically, this film is like flawless. So good. Now let's talk about Denis Villeneuve and his style of filmmaking. So yes, I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm. Like one thing, like I think we have spoken about it a bit during Incendies is like Denis Villeneuve is a very like he's a visual director. Like he likes to like he focuses and concentrates
Hmm.
on the images in his movies a lot. And I think like if you want to learn uh cinema through like images, like conveying story through images, like one of the best directors you can study is Villeneuve. Like it's not just there for making it look, and he has worked with so many cinematographers, Deakins, Andre Turpin, and all those guys. But like you can see a common thread of
Hmm.
uh
Common thread, yeah.
yeah, like his style is there in
Yeah.
everywhere, like all of his movies.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I think he's worked with Deakins twice now, I guess, with Prisoners and
Yeah, he Prisoners and 49,
2049.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Even this thing, even Arrival's cinematography and
yeah,
like style is really, really beautiful.
yeah. How could I forget Arrival? Like Arrival, I think it's
Beautiful movie.
yeah. Thing is, I forgot the name.
Something Bradford Young,
Yeah, yeah, Bradford Young. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
even like
I
and
mean,
Arrival's
what
cinematography
like
is beautiful. When I first saw Arrival, I thought like
beautiful.
Deakins had shot it. Yeah.
I same, but yeah. And what I like about the way he handles his characters, right? Like if you
Mm-hmm.
see
yeah,
like in all of his films which I have seen, it's like the main character is always in search of something,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right? They are always trying to find something, or they are trying to uh, decipher a code, right? So for example,
Yeah.
in Prisoners, right? So
He's searching
Jake
for his children.
Gyllenhaal's character, like, right,
Mm.
he's trying to solve the maze of the missing children,
Yeah.
yeah,
right? Even in Arrival,
Amy
Amy
Adams.
Adams's character, yeah, even her character is trying to communicate with
Yeah.
those beings,
Yeah. He
and
yeah,
the
like to
way
decipher
he
their language.
handles them, right, is so brilliant, and it's so subtle, and it's in a very beautiful way that
Mm-hmm.
it always makes for a very compelling watch.
Yeah. And also, if you see, he has
It's
put out a
fantastic.
body of work. Like if you start from Incendies in 2010, then Prisoners in 2013, Enemy in 2013, Arrival in
13,
2016, Blade Runner in
2016,
2017,
yeah,
2017, yeah.
2017, right? So it's like in
Mhm.
the span of 7 years, he has put out like six brilliant movies. And
Masterpieces.
yeah.
Absolutely
Like each
fantastic.
one of them is yeah, and like that's why he said like
Mhm.
he got so exhausted by the work he was doing. So I think Dune is going to be his last movie. I think he's retiring after Dune. Like he
Really?
said he's going to retire after Blade Runner, but like the Dunes, yeah, he loved the story so much. Like he said, Dune is going to be his last movie.
Hmm.
Yeah,
oh,
Yeah.
and the
Oh,
cinematographer for
damn.
Dune is going to be the cinematographer of Rogue One, the Star Wars. Like and Hans Zimmer.
Greg Fraser
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
going to be the cinematographer, and Hans Zimmer is going to be the director. And screenplay is written by Denis Villeneuve and Eric Roth and
Yeah.
Frank
oh,
Herbert.
yeah.
Damn.
Can we get back to 2049?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to add
No, no,
something,
no, no.
Suyash?
I was just saying about the his style of filmmaking. Uh, the style of filmmaking is something which is unique.
Hmm.
Also, do you guys want to say anything about the thematic color palette of the film?
Yeah, so color palette is it's like it's on the opposite end of spectrum. So you have your really warm like orange tones, and then really cool blue
Yeah,
tones in the
Yeah,
film. And I mean, like cinematography wise, it's the movie's flawless. Like we said, it's so good.
yeah.
Loved it. Loved every bit of it.
Correct.
And this is how you make sequels. And the best part about this film is, and I see this in a lot of sequels that are being made these
they
days,
completely
especially
ruined the
by Disney.
original. Yeah.
Not even ruined, so they don't have anything original to say.
I
They
mean,
just
Yeah,
you
yeah.
cannot
reference
connect
the
to the
previous
original
films.
movie.
They just reference, yeah. So they reference the previous film. They're like, oh, do you remember this happened in the first movie? Oh, you remember that happened? That's what
Like,
they do, and they ruin the entire series.
Yeah, from
And you
like
yeah,
see
like
that
the
Disney ruined
in
Star Wars. Like Rise of
exactly
Skywalker
like
was so bad.
after I think Force Awakens, all of the films I saw only one. All of them were like really bad.
No, no,
I
Last
don't
Jedi is
know. I
really
haven't
good.
seen.
Ryan Johnson, like he did a
Hmm.
very good job. But like Rise of Sky, like right with Last Jedi, what happened was the fanboys, like the grumpy fanboys, they started complaining that it is too liberal. It has a lot of
yeah,
female characters. Like those are the complaints. So like
Yeah.
they ruined Skywalker. Like they gave fans everything they wanted, and in the most
Hmm.
uninteresting, and like that's why Blade Runner, you see the sequel is they made, it's like it references the original, but like they have so many new things to say about the universe, like the Blade
Right.
Runner cinematic universe. And I think
Hmm.
this, I think it's the only place where like I've seen the sequel uh like it surpassed the
I mean,
original
it
movie.
Surpass
reminds you of
the
the
main film.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And for me, it somehow made the original one a little better as well.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know how, but but it did. This is a sequel which has something to say on its own, not just fucking reference the previous film and ruin the entire series.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Finding Dory, that film which was sequel to Finding Nemo.
yeah.
Why? Why the fuck would you make it? Why? It doesn't make it's so stupid that film.
And also, if you see like Terminator is also they remade it
Terminator
completely.
is like you have fucking like that's why like I liked Infinity War more than I liked the Endgame because Endgame was, I mean, they knew that it is going to be the last film in the Marvel franchise because it was just reference to the previous film without
Yeah.
really like without saying anything new.
Okay.
So anyway, so that was Blade Runner 2049. Do you guys have anything more to say about it?
No, man, it's a great
Mm,
movie.
No?
Yeah.
I think that's
I think Harrison Ford's best performance in Blade Runner 2049 he has ever done,
okay.
in my opinion. Yeah. So, yeah, that was Blade Runner 2049, and unfortunately, even this film is not available anywhere.
Yeah,
But
you
I'm
have to
pretty
buy
sure,
it.
like, people who will watch Blade Runner, they will definitely somehow they will find a way to watch this film.
Yeah,
Um,
and
so
also if
yeah, Yash, what's
like
your rating for the? Sorry, go ahead.
before seeing 2049, do check out the three short films. Like they'll also
Yeah,
definitely add to
please
your
check out the
experience.
three short films. If possible, we will put the link in the description.
Yeah,
And Yash, how much do you rate the movie?
10 on 10 like this.
Yeah, 10 on 10 for me too. So
Yeah.
Yash,
It's a 5 on 5.
5 1 5. Yeah, so that was Blade Runner 2049. And this concludes today's episode. So, Yash, thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming.
yeah, yeah. And like
And
whenever
we
you guys
will,
wanna invite me
defin-
back, I'll definitely come back.
yeah, of
Yeah,
course, of
Yeah.
course,
yeah.
of course, we will.
And like
So, thank you.
like
And
today is the first podcast I ever recorded, so thank you guys.
yeah,
And
and
also like all these three
today is
movies
the
are so
fourth podcast that we have recorded.
and like these three
Yeah,
movies are so special to me, so thank you.
yeah. And do you have any recommendations for our viewers, a film which you really want them to watch? Or
Mm,
any series, any sitcom series,
like I've
a
been
book maybe, I don't know.
watching a lot of sitcoms recently, so like I talk about these sitcoms wherever I can. It's always Sun in Philadelphia and Community. So like
Hmm.
if you get the time, and also I think a lot of us are free right now, so and a lot of people like watching
Yeah,
sitcoms, so do check these out.
yeah.
They are my favorite sitcoms.
So nice. So thank you so much for being here,
Thank you, thank you.
and thank you
Watch the
guys for
movies.
watch the films and let us know and follow Yash Kuberkar on Instagram. Not on Instagram, on Letterbox. Sorry,
On
not on
Letterboxd,
Letterboxd.
Instagram.
yeah, yeah, Letterboxd.
Don't follow us on Instagram because our accounts are private
Yeah.
and we don't accept it.
Yeah.
And no request. So, so follow us on
Letterboxd.
Letterbox. I did
Yeah,
mention, and I did mention what Letterbox is in the first episode. So watch
yeah,
the first episode if you want to know what Letterbox is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you in the next one.